Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. And, yeah, a little bit of Fox Farm up in this piece in form of their Triolet. I'm assuming that's how you say that. Fox Farm. I love that brewery. I've been digging on them for quite some time. They've been introduced to me from a couple different people up that way. And it was my pleasure to actually visit there during the last Beer Tube Palooza. So we're at the end of November now. That was in September, and ended up going to the brewery. Had a blast. Tried to hook up for a podcast interview while I was there. Didn't work out, but lucky enough to hang out, enjoy some beers, and I ended up getting some to go. And they threw in a bunch of stuff as kind of like just a here you go, enjoy kind of thing. Which I appreciate, and this is one of them. What are we going to be drinking here? This is a blend of 1 and 2 and 3 year old spontaneous ales, coming at 6.5% alcohol by volume. Fox Farm Brewing, from the soils come the spoils. Gonna fly in here again, so that makes me really happy. Triolet is made from locally grown malted barley and unmalted wheat, whole leaf aged hops, and our well water. Triolet is like all of our spontaneous beer is inoculated by our native microflora during an overnight rest in our cool ship. Beautiful cool ship, by the way. Fermented and aged in a variety of oak formats, we blend Triolet for complexity and character. Ready to enjoy, but well suited for extended aging. What do we got in here? There's no... Okay. This is bottled on April Fool's Day of 2022. So you're talking about a year and a half on this, as it were, in the bottle. Let's dive into it. So that's kind of their take, and a little bit of a, it might be goozy, lambic, more lambic. They would never use those words, but I'm kind of curious to see how it kind of goes. This is Russian roulette for me now. I'm sadly getting to the point where spontaneous beers actually aren't too bad. Foeder beers are becoming something that is very dangerous for me to drink. I end up having an allergic reaction to some of them. Nothing life-threatening, but it sucks. Let's put it that way. So yeah, but I still love them. So we're just going to see what's what. Yeah, one of the prettiest breweries I've been to. Just the way it was constructed and everything about it, just bonkers, top notch. Cork in there. Come on. Doesn't want to go all the way down. We'll be pouring more, so we don't have to go crazy with that. Anyway, you're talking about, spontaneous farmhouse ale, blended, yada, 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 a bunch of things. That looks like that. It looks like a pale. It looks like a Belgian golden. It looks like a bunch of different things. It has a nice kind of white head on it. Soft carbonation, nothing too crazy. Bit of haziness going on. So it looks the part of a bunch of different beers. Let's see what the nose knows. Yeah, tart prettiness, very tart prettiness. It's tart in the way the Jolly Rancher is tart, but not nearly as sweet as that. Even though it is a sweet beer, or the perception of sweet at least on the nose, making this nice rigid tartness on top of this nice kind of sweet maltiness, and very, very huge vinous vibes here. You're getting very huge white grape vibes out of this. It's like, white everything. White peach, white grape, super blonde fruitiness off of this sucker. White strawberry, those kind of things. On top of this, that tart, sweet combination. The more I huff on it, very much does remind me of a Jolly Rancher. Not like, almost like if like a super... like fair trade organic company made their version of a Jolly Rancher. It's not like, let's put it this way, it's not like New Glarus Red. It's not that level of Jolly Rancher. This is more like, okay, someone made a white grape Jolly Rancher, like I said, at a vegan artisanal place. That's the way the vibe kind of comes off on the beer. So it's this big combination of this tartness and this sweetness with this big white fruitiness on it. Again, we're leaning heavily into like that white grapiness, white peachy kind of thing going on there, and a very impactful nose for something at 6.5%. Sure, it's an aged beer, it's a blend of beers. It's going to have a bit of muster to it. But it just has this kind of, I don't want to use the word violence because that's not the proper word, because it's a pretty beer, so it's more of like operatic, volumetric, that kind of thing. The way opera is pretty, but it's also extremely loud kind of thing. That's kind of how it comes off to me. So let's just dive in, see what's what. Cheers, y'all. Yeah, see, it's such a cool combination because when we actually dive into the beer itself, it is loud, but it's such a tempered pace. And I've used this analogy before, and it very much rings true. It's like listening to really high, well done, high compressed, super clean audio. So for those of you, that are into music and the sound, you probably know what I'm talking about, but try to make it a little bit more simple if that's not your thing. It's like, you ever blast your TV? You don't have real TV, you know what I mean? Like a real speaker setup. You just have your TV and you want it loud and you blast it. And you can hear what's going on and everything, but it's just loud. And that's the big impression you get from it. And then if you go to a theater and you're at a movie and it's extremely loud, but you don't feel like the same kind of loud that you have when you're blasting your TV, it's because it's a pinpoint, razor sharp, controlled audio environment that it's loud, but it's not pushing the limits. It's not getting close to clipping. It's running it at a very steady pace without being aggressive in any form or fashion. That's kind of the way this beer kind of comes off for me. If I'm going to roll it into an analogy, like I never do those. Yeah. First thing that jumps out is that white fruit portion of the show. That white fruit portion of the show, we're probably going a bit more stone fruity here in the taste than actually a vinous kind of grapey thing, but it's there. It's flipped in the script where it was like very vinous on the nose, white peachy on the actual nose. That way it's more white peachy, and then kind of this grapiness, this white grapiness, this vinousness in the taste. It marries with this really, really cool sweetness. A sweetness that, again, I keep wanting to say kind of organic, fair trade Jolly Rancher sweetness. It kind of has that thing going for it. It's very much Jolly Rancher-esque for me. Think of it like a grapey, lemon, limey Jolly Rancher, but using some kind of like rounded, not confectionery level, but something not as sharp and sweet as a hard candy kind of sugar, even though that's what it would be. It's just a little bit softer, a little bit more tempered, a little bit shaved edges on it. That's kind of how it really comes off. There is a little bit of fluttering kind of, it's not even tannic hops, more herbal, but very, very light, very, very gentle hops in there floating around. The acidity level, the tartness of this beer, it lets you know it's there, but it never gets even close, at least from the way I drink and the kind of way I perceive that. Some people love huge over-tart beers. I wouldn't say this is overtly tart, but it's a tart beer. It has this decent acidity level without being hyper-aggressive. Beautiful mouthfeel. Like a full mouthfeel for its style without being thin nor heavy. This is really good. This is really, really good. I'm absolutely blown away there's no fruitiness. Just how fruit forward it is. Again, that peachy grapiness is just a super big, super bold. But at the same time, man, I wish I opened this with food. This is a food beer for me. Man, I should have waited till Thanksgiving to open this. It's only a couple days away. I could have found something to pair this with during Thanksgiving. Not necessarily turkey or something like that, but if we had some kind of something, I don't know. Maybe if we open some kind of seafood or something like that, might work with that. I'm thinking maybe oysters. That might be my jam on this one. Anyway, regardless, we're not talking about food, we're talking about the beer. It's a beautiful beer. Honestly, the way it drinks and the impact it has, while at the same time, again, analogizing that, clean reference audio, it's very, very loud, but it's not blasting. It's not blasting. It's encompassing the room without being distorting, without getting hyper aggressive, without being just over the top. And the way it presents the white fruits, the way it presents that subtle kind of spicy kind of hoppiness. The way it kind of presents that nice sweet maltiness that brings you into that kind of, again, fair trade, organic, whatever you want to call it, artisanal, Jolly Rancher-esque kind of vibe to it. It just comes in a really drinkable package. Epically tasty beer. I don't drink a ton of these anymore, and this really annoys me just because of my condition. And it sucks. It hurts when I get that. But this is the reason why I keep drinking these beers. I don't do them a ton anymore, but I have to go back. I have to go back because it's such a flavor profile that when it nails it like this one does, is it Mount Rushmore status for these beers? It's very close. There's probably other ones that do it a little bit better for me if I'm really going to put it on that kind of ranking system, you know, like the Suarez of the world. They're kind of, their Spawn beers tend to be, or maybe Jester King, tend to be a little bit more pH balanced level for me, a little bit nicer. Like I said, this is tart, and I know it's tart. There's ones that are more almost neutral. I say it's like the pH balance of your body matches the beer. This is probably a bit more acidic than what way I am, even though I'm quite acidic as a human. But it's worthy meaning out there. And as of late, absolutely 100%. But I'm talking about grand scheme of things, picture thing, because I don't drink them that much anymore because of that issues I have with that allergic reaction. I don't think I'm going to get it from here. I don't think it has the bits and pieces that'll cause that for me, which is quite nice because, you know, not to keep kind of just riffing off to the edge on these, like I don't do that in a bunch of these videos, but I find that these allergic reactions I tend to get from these beers, whether they be food or based Spawn beers, they're very inherent to the brewery. So, like, one of my favorite breweries of all time, Bond Brewing, can't mess with their food or stuff. Can't do it. It crushes me. Absolutely crushes me, causes that allergic reaction. And it's been a while since I've had one of these from Fox Farm, and it's just nice to know that, you know, we don't know yet. It usually takes about 20-30 minutes for that reaction to kick in, but I can usually tell by now. This should be good for me, which is nice. Means I should get more. But yeah, absolutely fantastic beer. Definitely scratches that itch of that spontaneous tart, full richness. I'm lacking the vocabulary right now. Scratching the itch of the Spawn world. Let's put it that way. But brings it up a level because, you know, it probably is that multi-year blending. It just adds, again, that analogy about the sound and speakers and reference sound. It just fills your palate, fills your heart without being over the top, violently cranked to 11 aggressive. But it's still a huge beer and a low ABV in a very beautiful way. I don't know what else to say. One of the better ones I've had as of late. We already covered this. Yes, Mount Rushmore status worthy. All time, it's very close. And leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like tart, slightly tart, I'll say, if I'm trying to guess at most people's average palate, slightly tart, spontaneous beer, and you like them to skew Vinish/white fruitiness, white peachiness, this is going to be 100 billion% up your alley. If you just like Spawn beer, I think you're really going to enjoy this, but that's where it goes to the next level for you. If you're not like a acid junkie, if you don't want your enamel ripped off your teeth, this isn't going to do that for you, but it's going to give you a beautiful experience with a very full and expressive fruit profile and a beer that tastes absolutely fantastic. Review in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Fox Farm, have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this particular beer? Have you had it fresh? Have you had it recently? All that fun stuff. Let's talk about it down there. So hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of a Triolet 2022 bottling. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.